A lot of startups take time. And specifically in this entrepreneurship world, people really have to wait 5 to 6, 7, 8 years in the medical device industry. It's not like, and I'm not a computer programmer, unfortunately. You have all these Mark Zuckerbergs who will, you get Snapchat and TikTok and Facebook and they will be these $1 trillion companies. Medical devices is not. Most of the time you will get diluted to the point of the investors getting most of the money. But again, it sounds funny, I'm not in my startup, for example, I'm not in it to be a billionaire or a millionaire. I'm just in it for the road, for the show, for the experience of getting something which will literally be benefit to humankind and help people undergo surgery in a better way.
Welcome to the Real Estate Mogul MD podcast. Thanks for tuning in and taking control of your financial future. This is a show where we not only motivate and inspire, we give you actionable real-world experience to help you live life by design. You'll hear journeys and stories from other physicians, investors, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And now, here's your host, Brett Riggins. Today, we welcome Dr. Uri Hadelsberg, all the way from Tel Aviv, Israel, and on his way to the States here very, very soon for a fellowship in Miami. He's a neurosurgeon and a serial entrepreneur with experience founding startups across medical, travel, and fintech industries. He's here to share his unique perspective on innovation, risk-taking, and balancing a demanding career with entrepreneurial ventures. Let's go. Uri, welcome to the show. How does it feel to be Uri today at this moment?
Thanks for having me. I guess it's okay. It feels great. This specific moment is kind of a complex one. It's a good thing you're asking. I'm calling in from Tel Aviv, Israel, kind of in the midst of getting a lot of attention, whether you may see, whether you return, but I'm cool. Difficult times throughout, but I think I'm okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Well, very cool. And on a late hour because you are working while we're speaking. I mean, you're coming off a long day, right?
Yeah. So I'm a spine surgeon, neurosurgeon trained, and I've seen a bunch of patients. Tomorrow's ZOR, but I think kind of get things smashed head to head. So I kind of manage my schedule kind of in that way for the past several years, managing to get a lot through. Kind of used to that, yeah.
Yeah. And relatively speaking, now age is always relative. And I've learned that very, very young in my life, speaking with an older, wiser person. It says age is relative. And I can completely understand that now. But relatively speaking, Uri, you're pretty young, right?
I mean, I'm not that young. I'm turning 40 in 4 days.
That's young, boy. Come on. That's young. It's relative, man, because the 50-year-old is like, man, he's kidding. 60-year-old, hey, he's a kid. But if the 20-year-old looks up, man, that dude's old, man. Exactly. Was he gray already?
Exactly.
But no, so it's relative. So you've accomplished a lot so far. And in this journey, now from Tel Aviv, now coming over to the States, tell us a little bit about your journey here to the States very soon.
Yeah, okay. So actually, I'm technically American-Israeli. Moved to Israel when I was 8 years old. Been doing back and forth. Went to school in Israel. Did residency here, and now going to start at the University of Miami spine surgery or Department of Neurosurgery in July, August. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The fellowship is very intensive there. A lot of hands-on. I've actually visited there a bunch of times. The guys, everyone, all the fellows, the attendings, you have huge caseload, everything from up to the cervical spine, of course, brain, from neuro guys, as we do, and all the way down to, thorax, thoracic spine, and lumbar spine, of course, sacrum. So I'm not there yet, but they're doing a lot. We're talking about dozens of cases a week. Very interesting. Also, the gamut, the University of Miami can do anywhere from scoliosis cases, which is very adult degenerative, or maybe kids with deformities, spinal deformities, all the way through tumors of the spine, to minimally invasive, very high-tech surgery, even on awake patients. My future mentor, and I'm very proud to say that Mike Wang is probably one of the world's most prominent leaders in awake spine surgery. So people who actually are awake and undergoing fusion instrumentation spine surgery, which is complex surgery. So
Wow,
I'll just give
wow.
you an example. A lot of people say, what's the difference, right? I'm sorry. So take it, for example, take someone who's 85 years old and you just can't anesthetize the patient, right? The dude just cannot go to sleep. He's got like lung disease, been smoking a lot, 5 packs per day, 50 years, whatever. Cardiology won't let you anesthetize him. You can take the patient, admit him, have him undergo complex surgery and send him home same day, and he's never been anesthetized. These patients usually, probably more than 9% of the world's patients cannot undergo that kind of surgery. University of Miami and some more centers in the US actually offer this awake spine surgery option.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So in Tel Aviv, moved there since you're 8. Now you're coming back. Are you planning to stay this side after the fellowship?
Good question. To be honest, I don't know. First year is going to be in Miami. I'll tell you this. I have a lot of Israeli neurosurgeon and spine surgeon friends who have moved to the U.S. The U.S. is the rest of the world. There's this huge shortage of doctors. So there's people actually have some options to stay. A lot of my friends, and also I have to say also the situation in Israel, trying not to get into politics, but I will get into politics. The political situation in Israel has been quite complex. So people are saying the war going on in the Middle East, the politics and everything, and as physicians, we're kind of masons in that way that we can kind of navigate ourselves in the world, and you will always find a place to work, right? Just
Yeah.
because of us being physicians. So a lot of my friends have been staying there. On a personal note, my wife's she's a pediatrician, neonatologist, so she has to complete her fellowship. So we're looking at maybe 2-3 years minimum in the U.S. And I
Very
mean, the
cool.
U.S.
Very
has been,
cool.
as an American Israeli, the U.S. for me is, and I'm proud American, proud Israeli, dual
Yeah.
citizenships. I'm very proud of being both. And I think that maybe kind of spending some time between the two countries will kind of do good for both me and my children, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah. 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 I love traveling, just the ability to diversify in culture and just, get outside of your box and get outside of your consistent path that you're always doing. And especially for the children, kind of open their eyes. There's so much I want to jump into, and especially around the startups. I want to chat a little bit about the startups. But before we get there, the difference that you see or that you expect to see from Israel to the States when it comes to real estate, whether it's layout of a house, how you pay for a house, do you invest in homes? Tell me a little bit about what that difference looks like for you.
Wow. So first of all, I'll say this, again, not a big maven in the U.S. real estate industry. I do have family. We do have some properties there. I've not been meddling with that. I'll say this specifically when you look at Tel Aviv is like in Israel and compare that maybe to New York. Tel Aviv's it's a very very bullish city, so everyone's buying in. People, a lot of cash, spending a lot of money on properties. Not always high top properties. You're paying top dollar for them in Tel Aviv. So a lot of people here are renting. If you go venture outside of Tel Aviv, the climate in Israel is that real estate is always expensive because historically speaking, a lot of the Jews' world Jewry, if you will, take it that way, people always wanted to buy into real estate in Israel. I don't know why, but that's the situation, right? So prices are expensive in Israel. I'd say that if you're looking at renting and buying, it's not as diverse as America. As you can go to parts of America, you can find when I was buying in Johns Hopkins, you could find properties for $5,000 outside of Johns Hopkins Hospital. It's not a lot different now. There's a lot of real estate in America, so it's cheaper. Israel's way smaller. It's like maybe less than 1% of the territory of the U.S. So
Yeah.
really smaller land. So the prices are not as volatile as in the U.S., where you have these huge extremes. So here it's kind of more cohesive. Of course, Tel Aviv is more expensive than the rest of the country.
Yeah. And I think one of the benefits, or it could be a downfall too, is the mortgage world here in the United States, being able to leverage money. How does that differ to that opportunity that you have in Israel? In Israel.
So I'm not a finance guy, but I will say that the taking a loan or a mortgage, or to speak, to buy a property in Israel, you have to come up with a certain amount of money. and there's also a lot of the government's also overseeing a lot of the banking system. So I think in that sense, it's not as a free hand as you have in the U.S., where you can just say, "Oh, listen, I'll leverage whatever money I have." You actually have to come with a lump sum to begin with. The government in Israel is it's failing for the past 20 years in doing so, and trying to lower the prices of real estate going up and up substantially in the past 20 years. I'm talking to you about, more than 100%, right? So people have return on investment in Israel. I'll just give you an example. If you bought a house in Tel Aviv in 2000 for $1 million, you could probably have sold it today for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, even $10 million, depending on where you bought the house. And
holy cow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy here. Now, I've seen properties maybe the size of the office I'm talking to you from going for $6 million because of the location. Tel Aviv specifically is very crazy. If you go outside of Tel Aviv, like I said, the prices are lower, but then again, bear in mind that you have to come up with maybe 40% of the total sum of the house to begin with in order to get a mortgage. So it's a bit more, yeah.
So the investing platform, real estate investing, definitely different there versus here. And again, Tel Aviv being in that fixed spot, it could be different somewhere else. But just relatively speaking, where you're from, I think that mends well then to kind of get into these other areas of diversification in your income, breaking your time from your money. Tell me a little bit about your path in the entrepreneurship world. Like what is that? Where did it start, and where is it at now?
Right. So there's a joke. Used to be a joke. This is a book called Startup Nation about Israel. There's specifically in Tel Aviv, everyone, if you throw a rock somewhere here, you'll hit someone with a startup. I live in a neighborhood where I honest to God, I think maybe 30 to 40% of the people in this neighborhood are entrepreneurs.
Wow.
We had this 3-day startup competition when I was in med school. And from there, I started with a medical device, and that was in 2013 or something. And since then, I have had maybe 5 or 6 startups. This startup I have now is actually 3 or 4 years in the making. Post 500K non-diluted, which is a medical device, which we're trying to bring into the U.S. as an FDA-approved device for performing brain and spine surgery without surgery. So hopefully we can kind of bring that. We're trying to do some more research on that. That's my main focus outside of work. Again, I'm a full-time fledged attending neurosurgeon, and then on the side, of course, I have kids. But on the side, you really have to find
what's left. Where's the time left? Yeah.
Well, it's always you have to sit down sometimes, spend several hours writing up for grants or maybe for investors and meeting up with people. At the end, you work with people, and it's a team. And where you act at the end, for example, 2 weeks ago, we had this huge experiment for us where we performed surgery on an anesthetized animal to show a proof of concept idea with our catheter, intradural catheter. It took us maybe a year and a half to develop from scratch. Culminating in that experiment 2 weeks ago. It takes time. Not every day. I'm not working on this full time, but whenever you can, you are putting as much as you can in the startup. Everyone also is this mentality, I guess, where a lot of Israelis have is very direct, cut the bullshit. Let's get this going. What do we need now, and where are we heading to? I guess maybe that also sometimes help. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. There's also, I have to say, something which is not good about a lot of Israelis and Israeli startups is people tend to we have a really good name as Israelis of breeding good, very good startups to begin with, but also have the tendency of also getting them up to a certain level and then trying to maybe diversify, maybe rapidly expand. And a lot of investors will find the startup very interesting, but then it's also very superficial and not really, you haven't really gone into detail. So you really have to, every Israeli has a startup, you really have to boil it down to a question is this manageable? Is this going to happen? Or is he just bullshitting me?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Very cool. Have you ever thought about investing in real estate?
So I've done that. So on a personal note, we actually took an apartment in Tel Aviv. That was in, give you some numbers here. Everyone loves numbers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, if you take numbers, I bought this place in 2015. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, super small. I paid, I guess, 650 US. And now they took down the building. There's a huge, what's happening in Tel Aviv is in all of Israel is old apartments are being torn down and you get renovation. So they add you a room and a parking spot and whatnot. So they're revamping the whole thing. They destroyed the building, demolition, everything, and now it's probably going to sell for $2 million.
Oh,
2015, yeah, 2015 to now, we're looking at what? 10 years, yeah. So
yeah,
10 years,
yeah,
10 years. You had a municipality and all this crap of getting bureaucracy over and took down the
yeah.
building. Probably going to finish it in 2 years' time. So 2015, 2027, and they'll be out for 2 million. So you're looking at 1.5 mil in 12
Wow,
years after
nice,
half a
nice.
million dollars. Yeah. So it's a good investment. That was a good investment, I think.
What does the tax piece of that look like for you in Israel? So here, there's like the capital gain tax. You would, if you weren't able to depreciate that all, or have other mechanisms, you'd have a big lump sum that you'd be due to the government. What does that look like for you in Israel on something like that?
So if it's so also I'm not really a real estate agent
Yeah,
to really describe the exact
yeah,
percentage if I'm not mistaken. So if it's your only apartment, you will not pay any taxes, even though you sell and buy and sell. As long as you stay with one apartment in Israel. So for
hmm,
example, if you were to buy a property in Israel, pay zero tax on the first apartment. But then if you were to have another apartment and still keep it on your name and maybe not your spouse, significant other, or your children or whoever in your family, you would probably end up paying an extra 15% tax on that property. And
okay,
also reap the profits whenever you resell it for a profit, you probably pay 15% profit taxes. I'm
right,
sorry.
yeah,
Taxation for real estate is actually lower than the U.S. And there are also certain vehicles you can go through. Get a company on your name and they pay even less taxes than that. It's not the Caribbean; it's not a tax haven here, but you can definitely kind of have your way around and lower the tax rates. Definitely.
As a neurosurgeon, you're no stranger to managing high stakes decisions. How does that mindset translate into your entrepreneurial ventures or exploring investments
Wow.
similar to like real estate?
So I like taking risks. I'll be honest with you. Not in surgery. In surgery, if you
Right.
take a risk and take out that disc fully, someone, and that has happened. Thankfully, knock on wood, not to me yet. But if you play around games with people, that's not a good thing to do. I think it's when I look at an investment that I have just across the board. It was a startup I was looking to invest into, and you really have to look at the metrics. You really have to go down and ask yourself, is this going to take off? I do like the risk. I'm not going to hedge over all my money, of course. I don't mind losing some money if I know at the end it will be profitable to me. But then sometimes you just, you will end up losing money in the startups. The entrepreneurship, only 5% of startups will actually go through an exit, right? And sell the company and that famous story. I Most of my startups have failed. I think it's
Hmm.
what people are afraid the most of is from failure. Actually embrace it. It sounds stupid, I know. I've failed miserably dozens of times, whether it's for board exams, whether it's for not, whether it's for my startups, whether it's for anything in life, going through residency. You're getting a lot of shit from other residents and saying, and then I think boils down to a mentality of saying, you will not fail by doing this several times and insisting on it happening. Then again, putting $100,000 in a startup from just you took off from TED Talk or from a YouTube ad while sipping through Netflix or whatnot is not the smartest thing to do. If you don't go down to details, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Go talk to someone who knows about the idea itself, know the market, and don't put all your money in there. Just play safe. But then you also have to have some time. A lot of startups take time, and specifically in this entrepreneurship world, people really have to wait 5 to 6, 7, 8 years in the medical device industry. It's not like, and I'm not a computer programmer, unfortunately. You have all these Mark Zuckerbergs who will you get Snapchat and TikTok and Facebook
Hmm.
and they will be these $1 trillion companies. Medical devices is not most of the time you will get diluted to the point of the investors getting most of the money. But again, it sounds funny, I'm not in my startup, for example, I'm not in it to be a billionaire or a millionaire. I'm just in it for the road, for the show, for the experience of getting something which will literally be benefit to humankind and help people undergo surgery in a better way. I won't be a billionaire or a millionaire, or maybe a millionaire from it if it takes off, but really transform how we operate on people. And again, most probably I will probably fail just because of statistics, right? But that chance, that's
what's the best mistake that you've made as an entrepreneur?
Wow, I was not ready for that question. Oh shit, man, you're hitting me here at 11 p.m. The best mistake I made as an entrepreneur. I can't really come up with something. I haven't made such a big, it's not. I haven't sold a company.
Mine's just been hanging around with the wrong people. Keeping the wrong people around me has been like a drag. That's the first thing that pops into my mind. But out of that, the best mistake is realizing that that self-realization piece that, hey, sometimes you got to get uncomfortable in order to be comfortable in a different situation. But then those are the mistakes then that have allowed me to analyze and adjust and switch what I'm doing based off of those mistakes. And sometimes in those times, the relationship will start and take off, and then it kind of like separates. But yeah, that was the first thing that just popped in my mind. The best mistake. It's pain at first, but then it's glory in the end, right?
From recent, a huge mistake which I made recently, and hopefully it turns out for the better. So this startup of mine right now, which we're doing this device. So I kid you not, probably 2.5 years working on a specific this device. We're working on a specific indication for surgery, and then we find out that we can't really patent the device for this specific use. Literally 2 months ago, we sit there and we're like, shit, we don't have a patent. So we repatented this. We're repatenting this, and hopefully we will get an investment for this new indication for back pain. So we almost lost the company for that, but hopefully it will turn around and be very, very lucrative, very interesting right now. But I can't really expand on that because we're not there yet.
Not there yet. Makes sense. As a serial entrepreneur and a neurosurgeon, we talked about this a little bit, where you've got obviously medicine, you've got the family, you've got these side hustles, for lack of a better word. How do you balance that demanding career and pursuing these entrepreneurial interests and keep that family the center of everything?
So my wife and I, so people say, oh, you have kids and you don't see the kids, and that's true. I'll be honest with you, there is a price to pay for the kids in the future. Will they get screwed up because of this? No. And I really honestly, my sister always tells that to me. And I said, I honestly believe they won't, because I am giving up seeing my kids' soccer game, football game, see my kids, grow up. But then when I'm with my kids, I'm not with my phone. I'm not dazzling away on the iPad. I'm not, I don't know what, bullshitting on I'm not messaging my friends or not. I'm with the kids, whether it's on weekends, and I'm with them on a fully dedicated 100% of my time is with them. I'm not answering emails. I'm not taking phone calls. And I think that during these times that I'm with my family and I'm spending 100% of my attention with my kids, they really see that and appreciate that. And they know dad's not at home. He's working and he's in the OR, he's seeing patients, whatnot, he's whatever. And they know, okay, dad's not here because he's doing something for the better good. When I'm with them, I'm really putting a lot of time. At the end, will I regret that? I don't know. I think that what I'm giving my kids is I'm giving them what I can when I can, and I think they appreciate it as not, as opposed to someone who's with his kids, like, I missed my kids growing up, I did not see them go to kindergarten, first grade. Heck, I missed my second kid. I missed her birth, right? I wasn't there. I was on the way back from the hospital. So am I missing some things? Yes. Am I paying a price? Yes. But as physicians, we don't, people who are not physicians say, oh, you're doing night shifts. I wasn't doing night shifts up until 4 months ago. I wasn't seeing my kids. There's a war going on here. I was not to be seen. And
Right.
but it's really how you grow up your kids and you educate them, and it's by being with them and showing them what's good, what's not good, and hopefully they take the time that I've been with them, and they know, okay, Dad, my way of life or my perspectives are right. That when I'm trying to instill them, then hopefully by the time when I will do a lot of, I have missed a large part of their going up, but hopefully I will get it back sometime when things kind of slow down. They never slow down when you're a physician, you're operating, fellowship, and then your cases and your patients. But sometimes you really have to say no is no. And I'm with my kids now. And that during those times, you really appreciate it. I hope so. I will not lie to you. Most days when I come back, they're already asleep. But on the weekends, I'm with them. We'll play soccer. We'll go out, and hopefully it's not enough, but it's something.
Yeah.
It pains to be a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. What the thing, and I say this a lot too, I mean, time is nothing without attention. And if you're, stuck in this rhythm or this motion where, hey, I maybe I worked a 9 to 5, but then when I come home, I clock out and I'm on a electronic, or I'm on a screen, and I'm not giving that attention. The time may be there, but the attention is not there.
Exactly.
The value that you have in that attention, that's huge.
And you know that with your kids. I mean, you see those people who pick up their kids and with their phone, put the kids in the car, they're yelling at them, getting in the goddamn car again, and then when on the phone with something, and you're not like, this is your goddamn kid, I mean, you should be, kind of fooling around with them with the time you have. But the more time people have, for some stupid reason, we're stupid animals, we tend to take for a given. Oh, the kid's here. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and oftentimes I look around too, and I mean, I fall victim to it too, and I think it's a human nature piece where we have to. But as soon as you have that moment, that self-realization of stop, and focus, give attention. What advice would you give to physicians who feel like they're stuck in traditional career paths, maybe doing that 9 to 5 and don't have the ability to 9 to 5 for a physician? You're right. In this path where they go to work and then they don't have the ability to unplug, or, they're just kind of like this recurring thing that's just going to keep eating them. Is there advice that you'd have them?
For physicians?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that us as a breed, physicians as a profession, we really have this self-dedication, motivation to stay in the hospital, see the patient move his feet, see the patient wake up, and I'm for that. Once you see that, you don't have to go back 4 or 5 times to his bed and stay till 9 p.m. If the patient's okay, man, go home. If you end up putting up these activities, I'm going to take my kids to the theater tonight, to the movies. I'm going to take my kids out camping on this weekend. I'm going to go, and you have this schedule preordained in your calendar. I don't do calendars, whatever. If you have that as a set mind, my kids' soccer games today, and for the health's sake, I'm going to watch it. If you have it as up there as your patients, it's just going to happen, and they're going to, because it's very easy to get. Oh, let me just write this manuscript. No, man, do not submit the manuscript for the conference in Denver at the hospital. Go home, put your bets to sleep, talk to your wife, talk to your significant other, whoever, and then submit it at 1 a.m. That's what I do. I have this. We have coming to conference in Denver in November. The submissions tonight, man. The kids are asleep. I will then go and I'll submit it at 1 a.m. Will you sleep less? Yes. If you don't want to sleep less, then why don't you go to med school? I mean, this is what you have to see your kids, and you have to put these kind of foundations in your weekly calendar. These statements where I am leaving the hospital. Will you leave the hospital every day at 4 or 5 p.m.? No. Will there be an emergent case coming up and you're attending on call? You have to stay for that? Yes, you're screwed. But I promise you, people over-exaggerate, physicians over-exaggerate by their importance and how much they have to stay in the hospital. And I really try to minimize, if I'm not seeing a patient, again, I'm sure they're surgeons or they're not surgeons. I'm talking for the surgeons of us. If you're not seeing patients, if you're not in the OR, go home. Literally, It's very easy. Don't stay for lunch. Have dinner with your family. Don't go to the gym. Go see your kids, put them to bed. And then you go to the gym, then you have dinner, and then you work late at night and do your submissions. And I see these doctors and then, they open up their laptops and conferences and, they're submitting and whatnot bullshit. I mean, come on. just, less sleeping, more working.
Nice. So this has been a wonderful conversation, and we just kind of tiptoed in some of the differences of, geographical differences. There's a lot that the human nature piece will tie into, no matter where we're at in the world, whether it's passion, family, whatever it may be, it drives a lot of our decisions. So if any of the listeners want to catch up with you when you come over here stateside to Miami, how can they get in touch with you?
I mean, more than
Probably
welcome.
LinkedIn, maybe?
Yeah, more than welcome to catch me on LinkedIn. So my name's Ori Hadelsberg. It's kind of one of one over there. Not too many Ori Hadelsbergs roaming around. Feel free to email me as well. You can do that if you want me. Yeah, email's probably in the comments or whatnot.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, we'll put that in there, put the email in there, the LinkedIn in there. And man, stay safe. It's been awesome chatting with you. And thank you for entertaining my crazy questions.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks. A great time.
All right.
Happy to be here.
At the end of a show, I usually, do an outro kind of piece and summarize with key takeaway. My key takeaway from today is my gratitude for you. If you're a physician listening to this podcast, watching on YouTube, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. What you give and what your family gives so that all of us, the rest of us, can depend on you to help us when we're in need. There's nothing that we could do to say thank you and really mean how we feel. Being in a situation where I was in a car accident, my family was all in the car with me, and my wife was actually had to be transferred to a level 1 trauma. My 2 babies are in the bed. Everybody's in the emergency room. It was pure chaos. I had no idea what was going on. But speaking with the attending emergency room physician, the neurosurgeon, those were those pieces of comfort that helped me through that process. So your confidence, your experience, your dedication, and everything that you're giving in those moments are what pulls family through those challenging times. So again, my summary for today is thank you, thank your family. Everything you do in and around medicine is worth it. You're making a difference. You're making a change. Thank you.